Out the week.
You know what makes this country great?
I'll tell you, we didn't even need the podcast. I just wanted to see the tits in the intro.
I was gonna
But
say
go, but go ahead. What makes this country great?
the First Amendment right in boobs.
Well, yes. Well, what makes the country great is that our women actually have the freedom to at least show their boobs enough to draw attention. Yes, they don't can't show nipples, but they can show cleavage, which is almost just as good, and and they can get attention. And there's nothing wrong with tits. I mean, let's just face it. We've been introduced to tits since we were born. Tits were a crucial part of our growing up, if you think about it. Because without them, I mean, unless you got you got your milk, via elsewhere, you were breastfed. I know I was breastfed. I did not like what the fuck are these lights? They were like these big bright lights. It's almost like titties. It's like shut your lights off. No, I was breastfed, which I find that since I actually don't like the taste of milk, and I don't drink milk at all. But I'll cook with it and shit. But I don't drink it. I don't like the taste of it. Never did as a kid either. But you know, boobs are boobs, man. They're part of life. I think some people get too hung up on them. Some people get too, oh my god. But then there's other people that's like free boobs, man. I remember like my first time I went to Monday Night Raw ever. I went with my couple of my buddies and my dad brought us, it was a Christmas gift. Got me like three tickets and one for himself. And he said I could pick some friends to go. And we went. It was floor seats, it was right on the floor. It was nice. It was great. And, you're right in the attitude era. And I mean, I remember just sitting there as a kid, and the first thing that happens in front of me is the girl turns around, some fucking hot ass blonde, and sticks her tits out right in my fucking face. And I'm like, wrestling.
There you go.
People think that I'm like this sexual oppressive person. I'm not.
There you are.
I just at that point in time, wrestling was sexualized. They wanted us to be sexualized fans. That was the point of these skits. That was the point of having Deborah come out and puppies be shown. That was the point of Sable. That was the point of everything. Okay, all of that was the point of the sex cells. They knew that their core demo that they had is when they were younger kids watching Hogan. We're now in the fucking puberty age and hitting teenage age and hitting this age. So they capitalized on it and gave us what we wanted, sex. I mean, at the same time, you had fucking showgirls coming out and striptease and barbed wire. I mean, I remember watching the unrated barbed wire at the same time just so I could see, Pamela Anderson's tits.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that fucking their first time they ever jerked off was to fucking showgirls.
I never saw Showgirls.
You never saw it?
No, I never saw it.
It's worth it. I might buy the 4K version. It came like re-released with all this nice little shit. It's worth the film. It tells a story of a girl going out to Vegas to do strip work. I mean, it's not a big Hollywood movie. The girl that did it kind of ruined her career with it too.
I think
But
it's just known as I've worked in fucking gentlemen's establishments for years. So the movie comes out, it's like
the movie would have came out when you're a little bit older than me, but I mean, for me at the age, it was like it was either okay. Look, we want to watch some kind of porn. It was either try to find the VHSs that somebody's got hidden in the house from their dad, try to see what's on the pay-per-view or the scrambler, get a store to sell us a Playboy, which was very fucking hard. I remember when Jenny McCarthy came out on Playboy, me and my friend went to every single store in our town. We tried every single way from, trying to slip store owners an extra $10 to telling them that it was for my disabled dad to anything we could come up with. We tried, and everybody turned us down from selling us a Playboy. And if you look at Playboy in general, it's not even explicit, man. Half of the time, fucking legs are closed. And, there's a lot more aggressive and hardcore porn that you would see later on in life. But, so when these movies came out, like Barbed Wire or even like fucking Striptease with Demi Moore and shit, and you just could watch them or rent them and see fucking tits and constant tits. Mostly tits, because at that age, everybody was a tit person.
Yeah,
Everybody,
but
because a lot of people didn't have access to full fucking hardcore porn. It wasn't like today. You weren't just turning on Pornhub. You had HBO that had soft porn. If you could order one of the hardcore porn videos or get to the pay-per-view stage, cool. But if you couldn't, you didn't get it. You had
but
softcore.
wait, the striptease though, Demi Moore got paid like the highest amount that any actress or actor got paid. So a lot of people watch it to see, okay, what do you have to do for that contract?
Well, that's because that she didn't. She knew that she didn't want to run. That movie came out after fucking Showgirls, and that girl in Showgirls, like I said, that movie actually ruined her career. People didn't take her serious. So I think Demi Moore went in there with a very high offering, asking price that if it ruined her career after the fact, that she could at least walk away with something. But I mean, these were just like I said, this is adolescent shit. It's the same thing if you grew up and this. I know that a lot of people watch Porky's. Porky's was the same kind of thing. Saw a little bit of tits, saw a little bit of fucking beaver bush, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Back in the day, you know, it was watching some nudity.
It was.
But I feel like we appreciated that nudity more. We appreciated the sex scenes more, whether it was in a horror movie. You seen a tit for a couple of seconds, or it was, a quick flash, or if it was fucking, like Return of the Living Dead, you had fucking Linnea Quigley fucking, fully naked. We appreciated because nudity wasn't thrown in our face all the time. We weren't exposed to hardcore porn constantly. You type in anything and you can be exposed to hardcore fucking porn. Grannies getting their asses reamed, mothers deep throated. It doesn't matter what it is. It's fucking all right there constantly. So we lose appreciation for the smaller or the lesser valued stuff.
Like the porn rooms where you in the like a first one video or something like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was just something special about, well, not special, but being a kid and watching a fucking getting or even fucking sneaking in the porn.
Never snuck it.
I would get like they had these like free at one point, they would have these free you know, things for Boston. And in the center of it would be like this little 7-page adult only part. And it would have like, fucking a couple listings for maybe escort, not prostitutes, escorts. It would have a couple photos for like, 900 numbers and some other dirty shit, whatever. Like I always used to grab that because I couldn't get porn, but I would definitely easily be able to go in and get those free mags.
Hold on a second. What do you mean? Why did you have to clarify with escorts and prostitutes?
Oh, because they like because prior to that was like Craigslist and such at the time, and you could get prostitutes. Like there was a difference. There was actually a difference in pricing between the two. Like a prostitute.
If it's labeled like prostitute, that's just one thing. But escorts is like any other woman. It's just like you say,
Well,
hey,
that no, but that's what I'm saying. The escorts, 90% of them that were in this magazine were professional escorts from a service and a company. You weren't getting fucking like 90% of the time. You weren't getting sex. You were getting escort services. There's a difference in services. You know, when you escort somebody, you could be escorting them to dinner. You
you're
could be
right.
going to you could be going to the movies. You pick up a hooker, they're coming to the house, and you're just fucking, and then they're going, and it's an
Found,
hour flat,
found all this out the hard way.
huh?
Found all this out the hard way one time.
Well, no, there is just a difference. People don't realize that an escort service isn't about sex; it's about companionship. Old ladies will buy young men escorts because they don't want to go out to dinner alone. They might be widowed, they might be fucking single, they might be whatever. They might take them to fucking the opera. They might be rich and take them to movies and take them out. People like to do things with people. People like to do things with people that look good. It's almost like an accessory piece. So you'll have elderly rich people fucking hiring escorts to go with them because it's an accessory, you know, like somebody has an expensive belt. Well, I got this pretty looking woman or this nice looking guy with me.
Yes, always make sure if it's an escort that will how far they'll go because someone will just go out to dinner with you. Like my experience, hotel room knocks on the door opens up, woman's ready to go out. Here I am, butt ass naked, like this party. You know, it's like no. Some escorts do not do tricks. It's like massage
Well,
parlor.
no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. See, and that's what it was. Like, these were legitimate companies. Like, when you would call these companies, there would be like, you know, like a house mother or almost like a den mother that would answer the phone and fucking, you know, you had to like fucking go through the ringer. This wasn't a one person operation. This wasn't a single pimp and his girlfriend.
It's a fucking straight. I mean, the other
But then
day,
later, what hookers decided to do so they wouldn't get caught and flagged is call themselves escorts as well. And then you could get them, and they would be like, "Yeah, we're ready to fuck," and it's like, "Oh well, okay. Well, you never know what you're gonna get. It's a mixed bag because you don't know if they're talking in code or not.
yeah, very true.
That's
But
why you just
people,
go to Vegas so you can just know what you're buying. I'm buying a fucking whore. That's it.
that's what you just do. Just say, hey, you
But I mean,
get a
the same thing with Amsterdam. You can go to Amsterdam and buy a whore.
fucking
You're paying for sex.
people
It,
like to go.
it,
People like
but this is the thing. If you break down sex and take away the emotional value of sex, then it's another form of pleasure. We pay for weed. People pay to go and drink. People pay for fucking all this other stuff that causes great pleasure. Sex is the same fucking thing. That's it. It's all it's broken down to.
I like to go for the first date and the second date and the third date. I like kiss and we want to slowly get into it before I get into her pants. No,
That
fuck that, fuck that. You go behind her, you slit her throat, and you
I've
throw her
only
aside.
I now I'm not gonna lie to you. Your method is very nice method, and I've used that method. That's how I got my wife. That's how I've gotten 90% of my girlfriends. But
But the
if
nice way is you know,
if I'm not looking to get a long term relationship or get to know anybody, and this is just strictly to fuck, then I ain't doing any of that shit. I mean, there's no need, there's no point. There might not even be a second date. We're gonna fucking have fun, and then if it works out to happen again, cool. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. There's no strings attached. This isn't about a deep bond that we have and a compassion for each other. It's about we just both want to get off, and it works.
think about it this way, all right? Let's say the magic number is the fourth date, okay? How much money would you have to spend? Because you have to take her out to dinner to impress her the first time. Second time be a movie or something like that, which you have to go by McDonald's or something afterwards. You gotta feed her. The third date is probably like manager golf or some shit like that. It's like how much money would you have spent already? Probably a
I
couple
mean,
of hundred.
but see, then I've had girls like, okay, there was one girl, fuck it, they don't listen to my show anyway, so we'll just drop names. I don't care. There was a girl, Crystal. I met her. Like I said, later on we became friends, but when we first started dating, we talked a little bit, talk, until we decided to meet up. But the first time we met up was at a restaurant right near my house. We met in the parking lot. We smoked a fucking joint together. We went in and ate. It cost me whatever dinner would cost. And then we went back, sat in her car. I figured she said, "You want to smoke more?" I said, "Sure." We smoked. She ended up blowing me. I fingered her. And then I went home. So what was that? $40, whatever dinner was. We ended up fucking around the next night, and then we ended up just becoming friends. My girl Mindy, I met her, and I was younger at the time, and at one point, you'd meet these people in chat rooms, and I was drunk, and I was fucking, would drink and go in these places, and it just slipped. I was like, I love you. And she was like, "Oh, well, if you're feeling that way, then we can fast track this a little bit. I'd like to come down and meet you." She lived in New Hampshire, and fucking next thing you know, she came down from New Hampshire. That first date, she fucking blew me 3 times. And then I think the next time I went to her house and I fucked her in the ass. It's like, didn't really cost a lot of money. It was just the more of, this is what it is. But this is in my young 20s, 24, 25. Girls in their 24 and 25, and if they're looking for the same thing at the time, it's not going to be a problem. As you get older,
Oh,
people want more out of it.
don't lie, Versace. It was the other night.
What?
It was the other night. Don't lie. 24, 25.
No, Mindy was it when I met Mindy, I was 24, and when I met Crystal, it was in 2017. Um, no, actually, no, it was in 2016. After Mindy actually cheated on me. See, it was a weird story. I had met Mindy when I was younger. She was actually a side girl, and then we ended up reuniting, and she forgave me for being a side girl, and we ended up, because what happened was, when that girl, remember I said earlier, the girl stabbed me with the knife.
Yes.
Why, she stabbed me with the knife and went off to rehab. I decided to fucking better myself and quit drinking. And while I did that, I met Mindy, and Mindy, online, and me and Mindy started to have a relationship. And then the other girl rehabbed herself and came out of it and was like, "I want to get back together." And at this point, I had two girlfriends because there was nothing I could do. Um, and I had to choose one at one point. I ended up going with the girl that stabbed me because of the fact that she actually went and got the help and became less violent. She owned up to what she had to do, and she stopped, and I ended up dropping Mindy. And Mindy was upset at first, and then, after 10 years later or so, she forgave me. And so we ended up seeing each other again. But she ended up cheating on me with pneumonia. That's when I met Crystal. And then Crystal lasted until I met my wife, and then that was it. That doesn't sound good. I'm going to shut the car off there. I don't know why the engine wasn't buckling. Probably sitting here idle too long. Fucking things. This car sucks like that. Ah, man, I didn't even. Like I said, I wasn't even gonna come on, but then I was like, "Fuck it." We were losing our asses in Fortnite. It wasn't a really good night. There is some movies I gotta watch tonight. I rented, one being Strange Harvest, two being The Man with the Black Umbrella. Both look unsettling and fucking weird. But I like to come on here. Sometimes I like to come on to just talk, and it's not even about listening to myself because I could care less. I feel like it's just establishing. We're known for coming on every night. Then we come on every night, whether it's a half an hour, whatever. We're talking to people. I don't know if people listen or follow us, but if they are or they do, then they at least know what's going on. And I always like to think that there's one or two people that are doing that. So I will always treat it as the show is for them as much as it is for us. And we will let them know what's fucking going on. Like, we told the Twitch people Monday night, we have a behind closed doors meeting with one of the new Puff Puff cast members, and we're just feeling everybody out, and we're talking ideas. So there won't be probably a live episode that night, but there will be another episode being put up Tuesday.
We got everyone. No, wait, we got everyone. We made it real special for everyone.
We did. And you picked one of the best episodes that we've ever done, so I mean, I appreciate that. Tuesday night, I
Everyone,
already.
everyone in the New England wrestling community, I just want to say right now, Versace had nothing to do with this episode. This was authorized and signed off by Victor Sin.
Yeah, I don't even know, but
I'm just saying,
I trust,
what's
you
your
know what,
idea?
but I trust your visions, Vic. You know that.
It's just you denied this was not your idea. I brought was the one that brought it up.
Well, you did, yes, but I
So
trust
just
your
say
visions
that.
and to know that you haven't failed me wrong yet. Um, but no, Tuesday night we got now I'm gonna forget.
Cast with
Now
the
the Tuesday night is gonna be our actually puff cast.
that's a puff cast with the I'm gonna say like it's like the inside the madness of Versace Stone or something like that, like inside the mind of the madman.
Yeah, you're gonna talk with me. We're gonna show off some of my short films. We're
Videos,
gonna
yep.
talk about how I even and why I even am called the Versace Stone. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about a little bit what I do, why I do it, what I even fucking am, and it is what it is. Fun little episode. Wednesday night we actually have a pro wrestler coming back on, and it will be a co-hosted VSW, old school VSW / Sinners and Saints. And this is someone that I I'm not actively looking for wrestlers, but if they come up to me and say, "Hey, I'd love
We,
to be on your show," I'm not going to say no.
we don't turn anyone away. We don't.
No, but this was someone that I was, in back in February, and if you remember back in February, I was balls deep in the wrestling scene as Joe had strung me pretty far along, and then I started sponsoring freaking Focus Pro and Limitless like there was no tomorrow. And when I did that, a lot of people, I was running shows almost every night. I had a lot of interviews. A lot of people wanted to be talked to. I was interviewing everybody and anybody in Maine, everybody out there. And then, I started reaching out. I started getting names. And I reached out to a bunch of people, and this person just never read my message until now from February. And so they got back to me and was like, if you still would have me, I'd love to be on. And I said, well, yeah, sure. I'm not going to turn anybody down. There's still value in people that pro wrestle. I'm not gonna say all wrestlers are shitbags. It's just a lot of people have shown true colors, Victor, and it's sad. In a lot of ways, it's sad. It's more saddening than angering.
Yeah. Thing is, it's not them, it's us.
Of course it is. I'm taking it too personal. It's my fucking fault. I'm a fucking whatever. It's okay. Maybe I stepped out of my lane. Maybe I never was meant to be anything more than just a fucking fan.
No, it's just like you stepped out of your lane. Okay, how?
Well, I got out
All
of the
right,
fan.
not
I got
just
out of the fan lane. I started doing bullshit wrestling with some backyard people. I started trying to put myself into other shows, not by doing it, but I made sure that people know who VSW was.
it's always good to fucking have people on the side. So let's say someone like a commentator or something like that overdoses before a show and you need someone. You got someone on your phone to say, hey, can you come in?
You think anybody ever fucking called me? The only one
Yeah.
that ever asked me is two people and two people only. Okay, that has ever hired. Oh, three people. I will give you three people that hired me to commentate. One was fucking Joe. He was very headset after hearing my podcast. He wanted me as part of his team with his friend Nick. But I guess Nick didn't like me too much or talked a lot of shit behind my back. I don't fucking know. But whatever which way, he was one of them. The other one was I was offered by the on one of the shows that I had sponsored, I was offered by the Focus Pro team to do the commentary for the pre-show match.
We put you on your spot for a second. Let me ask you real fast. For
Yeah.
the evidence that you've seen and the testimony that you've heard, just am I more right or more wrong? I'm not gonna say 100% right, but more right or more wrong about Randy Carter. From the evidence that you've seen that was presented to us, it could be like 52% right. That's fine, or 50% wrong.
I mean, I can't deny that other people haven't come to me in the past and say they had an issue with Randy Carver ripping people off. Okay, that's what I was told. But they said it wasn't from Randy, that it was John Alba that was dealing with the sponsorships. I forget the podcast names. I've tried to look several times. This was 2021. It might even been during the pandemic era of wrestling, so there wasn't even live shows. And
But
but a lot of
interesting.
us, but we were sponsoring like crazy. Like VSW would take 2, 3 matches, and we would be announced on the IWTV when they released the show, and it would be this whole thing.
I'm going to make one thing clear. I'm going to give you three quick models. Randy Carver is the man who oversees everything. He's the boss, right? Pretty much, besides the owner.
Well, yes.
And you have Jeremy, one of the head
Yeah,
people.
okay. I would say if see, I don't know. See, that's the thing. You never know who you're talking to when you're talking to an account that has a name. So if you're talking to Limitless Wrestling, you don't know who's doing the answering that day. If
Yeah,
you're talking to whoever, I can assume that I'm only talking to Randy Carver. I can assume that, but I can't be 100% sure. I was told that sometimes I was talking to MSP, sometimes I was talking to John Alba.
this is what I'm trying to get at here. You have people who's like below them, working for them, who's doing shifty shit, and they need a
Yes,
man up.
Jeremy.
And
The
they
same thing
need a
happened
man
to
up.
Jeremy.
Be a
The guy,
boss.
the
They
guy
need
was
a,
ripping you off.
they need to be a boss. They need to take charge and take control. Be a fucking man. When Vincent, who was promoting the show and the network like no other, when he was harassing our podcasters for 150 bucks, what do we do as bosses? Cut him.
No, we did. I
It's
get
about
that.
someone stepping up, not being like, well, shit, I don't know, shit. No, fuck you. This
But
is
like
like,
I said, okay, you want to know the Randy Carver story? You want to hear what I know about what happened with Randy Carver? You want to really know? 'Cause I can feel like you do. It's gonna help you. And I don't have any problems with Randy. I don't have any problems with Limitless. I don't have any problems with any fucking promotions, promoters, or anything. Not on a business level, not on a personal level. People want to people want to treat me a certain way, or present that I'm a certain way, then so be it. That's them. And but with Randy, I went into Limitless sponsorships, started off very small, me and my friend Brian at the time, who was on the spectrum. We ran the podcast. We started the SW podcast. I had started the podcast prior, and then he joined me. He picked the name Disable Wolf because he was disabled. He liked wolves, put the two together. I got him to get into the indie scene. He got me into AEW and WWE again. We worked together and we lived close together. We used to work at Whole Foods together. He worked with my mom. Like we became good friends. It was a shame that it all fell apart in the end due to him thinking I was using him over money, and a lot of that is the wrestling business's fault because of the fact that sponsorships aren't free and he wasn't seeing the results. And that was the thing. But we, during the pandemic when it hit, we watched Limitless Wrestling. We wanted to go to the show right before. It was Chris Statlander, who we were big fans of. We had already seen her in Beyond Wrestling, doing wonderful things. Um, and we wanted to see her fight Anthony Green. That show got canceled, unfortunately. COVID had hit. But we still watched Limitless, and Limitless came out with The Road. Well, Pandemic in the Dojo first. I watched that, then The Road came out, and me and Brian soaked it up. We watched it every week. We started interviewing folks from there. We did everything that we could do, and to put and to keep Limitless strong. And then I saw that they were coming back with these shows that were being it was a taping show, but it was going to be on IWTV. They were taking sponsors. I was too late to sponsor anything big, but I just threw in what I could. It said you could sponsor wrestlers, any amount. I sponsored Becca for like 20, $30. I believe she used it towards uh, um a Bruce Pritchard seminar, I was told, and it actually changed her career. She's been better ever since. But I watched that show. We watched that show. I started also sponsoring NCW. I started sponsoring Proving Ground. We started sponsoring those two as well. They were doing tapings, and it wasn't a lot of money. It was like some of them were $25 a match. I believe $100 a spot was NCW, and they gave you a commercial spot in the show, which I had my friend Jason, aka Mashup Wrestling, make me a freaking cool ass intro at the time. And so, we were just roaming and running and roaming and running, and then wrestling came back and it exploded, and we went everywhere, man. We went everywhere. We went to Limitless. We were still sponsored. We went to freaking Jersey. We started going out that way. We got burnt out there because of Ric Flair, and maybe I was a little stupid to mention the joke, but I figured people were over a 20-year-old incident. I was wrong. Um, but Randy was a different story. We looked up to Randy. We looked up to Limitless. They were the forefront. We still believe they were the number one. We liked Beyond, but we still thought Limitless was the hidden gem. And we always treated him with respect. He treated us with respect, and until the one show. And it was like we sponsored two matches. It was a tag team match. My friend was really invested in fighting with John Alba. He liked getting under his skin, and it was John Alba's team, the Prestige, with Mac Alba, BRG, and Channing Thomas, and they were taking on MSP, I believe. I believe it was. I don't know, but he was supposed. We sponsored that match, sponsored the main event. Okay, that match. Now this happened now about 2 days after we got into a fight and canceled basically from the Jersey promotion that we were sponsoring. So we got cut for that because of my Flair jokes. And then, that was made pretty public. And then this came to be. So what happens? The match comes out, our names aren't mentioned, and it's the first time this has ever happened. I don't know what to fucking do, but I look at my friend, and like I said, he's on the spectrum. And when he gets overstimulated or over anxious or whatever, he starts clapping his hands and doing shit with his hands. And that's how I could tell he's under stress. And so he was doing that, and I could see that he was fucking mad. He was pissed. He felt embarrassed because he put on a mask of a wolf that he already had bought, and he had this whole thing. He was gonna banter with them. And like in his head, he had it all planned out and perfect, and we split these sponsorships down the middle. And it didn't happen. He was pissed. I got up and went over to talk to Randy Carver. I said, Randy, what the happened here? And he says, oh my effing God, I gave Rich Palladino the freaking, notes. How the fuck did he miss this? He calls and screams over to Rich. Come out, Rich. Rich comes out. He's like, oh shit, I forgot to mention it. I had it on my cards right here. I'm sorry. And
shit, nuts.
My friend was fucking just like, he was done. He was kind of like, I don't really want to sponsor things anymore. This guy felt burned. We had the main event that we sponsored too. The name was mentioned, fine. Randy felt bad. And so at that point, he decided to give us any two matches we wanted for the next show. We took advantage. We took advantage of that and sponsored two matches. And then, a little bit while after that, we stopped, and we had a falling out basically because he thought, I was using too much money. I got fired, and I got fired because of him. I was doing Amazon, and he was working Whole Foods, but we worked together in the same building, and he had an issue with one of the females there. She came on to him, and it made him feel really uncomfortable. This was almost like the story of a kid, but he felt really uncomfortable.
Was she cute?
She was fucking beautiful. I mean, she was really fucking hot. But she came on to him, and he started to have feelings after like the fifth day. Now, it comes to find out this girl was flirting with everybody. She was a flirty fucking whore. But I mean, to somebody that has some kind of disability, he was starting to catch feelings and thought it was unique, and whatever it was, either which way, it was considered to me sexual harassment.
Like TP Storage.
And so I no, I didn't do anything bad, but I brought it up to the fucking. He was bothered by it. Like every night he would talk. Like we talked before a podcast. He was talking about that, and just he was upset because she was moving to another store, and then she just left. She never said bye to him. She just left, and he was like, "She broke my heart." He was fucking like fucked up. So I went to bat for him, and I went to the president, not the president, fucking owner of the store, and I told him what happened, and I think believe she got let go for freaking because they could see it on camera or whatever. But I don't even know. But then they turned around and got rid of me for fucking whatever they could find because the lady was a supervisor, and I shouldn't have got involved. 2 weeks later was like my wedding, and like 3 weeks later after that, the kid told me to go fuck off, basically that I had wasted all his money on wrestling. And
She's
and
fired. She's fired, and you're fired too. What did I do? You're a rat.
I well at that point I figured the kid didn't have a voice. I mean, he was autistic to the point that he was, the fact that he was working, most people in his state of mind wouldn't have worked. They weren't be able to hold a job.
Yeah,
So I
but
was
like
always
I say,
proud that he was.
she was gone. It's like, what can you do?
Yeah, but he was broken hearted. It's like, I don't
This
know.
is guys. That's like asshole level, like contacting Maine Medical or something. Oh,
No, I didn't go and tell them. I just said, look into it. I said, look, and I just put it like this. I said, I don't really know the whole story because I know the owner of the store. I used to work for him. He used to be my boss. So I just said, look, hey, listen, me and Brian, we do a podcast together. We run a show together. Da 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 da. He brought to my attention that this has happened in the place of work. Da 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 da. It's been bothering him on his mind. I think he's afraid to talk about it to tell people. I'm just gonna tell you as a friend. If whatever happens with it, happens with it. If he wants to talk about it, he can. I'm not testifying to anybody. I don't know anything. I'm just hearing what he's saying secondhand. It sounds not right. It's upsetting him. Maybe you guys can come to a resolution. It's now affecting my. Basically, I said it's now affecting my show because it was. He was the podcast was podcasting was getting a little off. But whatever. We ended up splitting ways, and I ended up doing whatever. But around that time that happened, that's when all the podcasters hit us up and asked us if we were being fucking used by Randy. And John Alba was screwing podcasters left and right, taking their money, not mentioning them, not doing appearances, not coming on shows. And I said straight up to each and every one of those people, I'm sorry, but that's not my experience. I've had nothing but good issues with Randy. I've had nothing but good experience with Limitless. I've had nothing but good experience with John Alba. He came on my show, and then when I asked him to come on again, he said, "No, I can do better yet. I'll give you one of the boys." And he brought, I think he gave me like one of the kids or something, one of the younger guys. And so, I mean, I didn't have that experience with Randy. So years later, when I started getting back into sponsoring, and after me and him broke up, I went back in and I started doing nothing. I started hating the industry. I was back into horror. And then I met, people into Kill City Cup, and that re-inspired me into wrestling. Started interviewing again, started running the VSW again, and I started sponsoring again. And when I did, I went back to Maine, and again, I haven't had any issues except there's been a few mishaps where my name isn't mentioned, like the Rumble. My name wasn't mentioned in the beginning; it was mentioned later. And then I've been told over and over again by other promoters that I've been doing business with that there's a lack of respect. It can be shown in the way that they, mention you, where they put you, how they say your name, what they're actually offering you for price point. Are you getting free A, B, and C? If you ask them for a favor, are they going above and beyond? I asked for my banner to get signed, and I was told that it would be a cool piece, and it never did. And they was told that it was just too busy. And when I asked the other promoter, yo, is this sound legit? Does this happen? He said, no, if they wanted it signed, it would have been signed. It doesn't take hard. I had your banner signed. I just said, hey, sign this shit before you fucking go out or whatever it is. If you want something done, you can get it done. And so I soaked all that in. I still sponsored Limitless until I stopped going to shows. And I stopped going to shows for two reasons. One,
They
It's
suck.
too no, they don't suck. They're a fine promotion, but I've seen to me it's a little redundant. After a while, I feel like it's a lot of the same people that I see here locally. They're just in a different light, and that's great for the people in Maine because they don't have the fucking 10 shows a week like we do here. But also, it's a hike, and it starts to take its toll on me going Saturday, coming home late Saturday night, fucking having to wake up Sunday doing X, Y, and Z. I never can get front row seats. I never can get any of that shit. I never can do any of this stuff. So it's like I stopped going. So what am I sponsoring shows that I don't go for? And then also this, like I said, feeling the lack of respect. It's not this hate thing. It's not this fucking bullshit thing. It's just like I said, lack of respect. I've been a valid supporter via both verbally, sharing and also financially. A hello once in a while, a hey, how you doing? You don't see me posting for a little bit about wrestling. Hey, what's going on? You see something going on? Say, hey, what's up? Like I said earlier, at one point I was talking to all these people, every week or so, getting results and reviews and news and info and shit. I put out a wrestling magazine one year myself. I did all myself, but I got people to send me quotes and fucking news and fucking up and coming shit that was happening. People worked with me at one point. I mean, will I say that you're right about Randy Carver? No, I'm going to say you're wrong about Randy Carver. I just don't think that, I think that you're wrong about his ways. I believe what the other promoters have told me that I've worked with, that he just does not respect me. Maybe he doesn't respect podcasters so much. Maybe he doesn't respect outsiders so much. I don't know. I don't think he's actively out. I don't think he's actively out there scamming anybody.
The thing is, if you make an agreement for services that you paid for, it should be honored. They did not say your name in certain spots. That was agreed upon. Therefore, we got a problem.
We do, but there's no way to fix that once it happens. And card is always subject to change. I mean, Rich did try to do the best.
Next match. Next to that, you say, sorry about that. Not your problem. You gave the money. That was your problem. To save the money, get the money.
Well, I mean, that was the same thing. I sponsored, what's his name to go over there from, what was it, GCW? What's his name? He's one of the Sanoas.
Zilla.
Okay, I sponsored him, and I was told that I got no spotlight out of that name whatsoever. My name wasn't even attached hardly to him being, brought in. I was the one that paid for him to come in, so I should have been mentioned, presented to you by VSW, brought in by VSW. They could have tried to get an interview. They could have tried to have him say some words. They could have tried to have him meet me. They could have tried to have something. That's the thing. I don't get to these shows because I wasn't offered seats. If I sponsor Focus Pro, I get front row seats every time I sponsor them. And then I also, do have opportunities. I'd be told, come early. You can get interviews with these guys live. Come early. Do whatever you can fucking do. I have gotten my, banner signed by a lot of high-end wrestlers out there. I won't say that, that's one of my favorite promotions to do business with because I have been treated pretty fairly up until whatever the last point was. And I won't say that it was a loss. It's just, again, a slap in the face. I wasn't screwed, but because I didn't lose anything, but I felt like I was a little slapped.
So that's a slap. That's not, but it's just everything. It's like if you have, like the Rumble, if you have it in writing and it's agreed upon, you give the money. They gotta provide the fucking agreement.
I mean, he did everything else. He came on the podcast, which I've been trying to get him on to come for years. He actually announced somebody that was going to be in the Rumble live on the show, which he promised. He did all that. But prior to that, I was before the sponsorship.
It doesn't matter because it's just like you say $125 for a sponsor. I only got 100.
Well, let me ask you this, because prior to that, I was doing something different. Before, they did, I guess before fucking, before they went into that arena the first time that the Coliseum, I was doing something different with Randy because before it used to be like whatever a match, and when I came back for sponsorship, there wasn't really no agreement. So he was doing like $100, and what it came with would be a shout out during the show. Hey, we'd like to thank one of our sponsors, our good friends at the VSW. And then it would come with sharing one of my latest episodes on their YouTube page. So if I did an episode about, the show, they would share it. They would get all these views. They would tell people to check out my YouTube page. This was $100 a show. That's what I was paying. Then Call C came. He told me, sorry, we got to up it to like one whatever, 150 because the Call C wants a cut of the sponsors. But there was a dirty little trick there. The sponsors we were shown on the boards, but only Bissell Brothers, who presented the show, was actually mentioned by name to the audience in IWTV.
Was it agreed upon that they were mentioning?
I figured for 150, and being a sponsor, we would be announced and thanked with all the other sponsors of the show. Even if you say we'd like to thank our sponsors, now you rattle us off and then, thank your main sponsor. But the banner was around in different, TV screens. And then after that, he changed his format of sponsoring to, you're going to pay for, basically shows or matches. And I don't know where he got his prices from. So it might be 300 to sponsor this match, or 200 to sponsor this match, or 5 to sponsor this guy. I never got involved and I never asked the question, so it was never breaking down to me. But when I've dealt with other people, they actually would break it down and say, "Hey, you're paying for this is this guy's booking fee, this is this guy's booking fee, this is the cost of the sponsorship. Here you go." I was never really given that, so I don't know what I was paying and if anything was upcharged, if these guys were getting paid more to travel more, if they were getting paid less and this guy was making money. I don't know that. But I was told the numbers that the numbers were off on some of the stuff that I had done. But like I said, I can't cry over spilt milk. I don't get to these shows much anymore. I don't get to these things much anymore.
Just I can tell you told me it's just kind of like validates my point. Like, yes, he does tweak the numbers. At some point, some of the things you said is more like, you're just a dick. You're not fucking skinny. You're a dick. But some of it was just like tweaking the numbers, not going by what is agreed
Well, I
upon.
don't know. Well, it's not even tweaking the numbers. I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, I was when I did Focus Pro and sponsored with them, I had a very open relationship with their management team to the point that I knew everybody's cost. And I also had been working with, the people behind the scenes with BWA. So I was booking some of these guys from Maine. I was booking some of these people like Channing Thomas and freaking all these other people. So I knew their booking rates. I knew what their cost was. I was booking people all over, even if Joe never used them.
Yeah, but the bottom line of it all is okay, no matter what number it is, it can tweak the numbers, whatever. You agree to pay this much money for A, B, and C. And he was only to do A and C.
Well, they didn't tell me how that my name would be mentioned for the Rumble. I guess that was my fault to not, I guess listen to that. I don't know. I don't know. I was a little bit shocked and heated, though. I'll be honest. I was pissed when it happened because I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" I mean, we're not talking chump change here. We're talking, half $1,000. We're not talking just, whatever. It's not. And I felt like I threw it away.
So it's just known as he's a scam artist or he's just an absolute moron.
No, it's the wrestling world. I mean, it has nothing to do with scamming. I don't think he actually said,
All right,
"Look,
so he's just a moron. Okay. He's an idiot.
uh, I don't know.
Right.
It, it's hard to say. It is. It's hard to pinpoint because I don't like to play the blaming game, but I don't know how these everybody does business. Everybody does business different ways. Some people are very morally fucking whatever. Some people are, I sponsored one company and went to the freaking stage crew, which means basically went to themselves.
I mean, this is a difference. This is a difference of logic and professionalism.
But I'm
It's
just saying, if I'm just thinking in my head, if I'm sponsoring two wrestlers, right, and they're $60 a piece, that in my head the math is 120 for the sponsorship. Why am I paying 200? Why am I paying 300? And that's just where my logic comes in. Um, why am I paying these? Why am I paying a differential? And I guess this is where I was kind of, oh shit. Um, I guess this is where I was kind of stupid in a way. But I had at one point I had because I budget everything else. Okay, I budget everything out. At one point, I was sponsoring four different promotions at a month. I was doing Blitzkrieg, Focus Pro, these people, a proving ground. So I told him what my budget would be, and every single month he brought me to the top of my budget. He brought me to the high end of it. Like, no, that's not how much I want to spend. That's just how much the max I can spend. And I always felt like he abused that a little bit, taking it to the top and still not giving me any bells and whistles. And that's, when I'm going out there to a show and I'm driving 2.5 hours and I'm in line and I got someone like, Alex who's there and he's like, why are you waiting in line? Aren't you a sponsor? Or why are you doing this? Aren't you a sponsor? Or why aren't you getting front row seats? Aren't you a sponsor? It makes me think, well, you're right. Why aren't I? I'm a sponsor. I paid more money to get in. I should be able to come in, watch the show.
and this is why you have the fucking poor people like them who
He
needs
is
this.
the only. I'll say this if you want to know something. He's the only promotion that has never. He's the only promoter that I've never gotten any free tickets with for the sponsorship. But I mean, later in the sponsorship, I worked it in, or I said, hey, I want tickets to the show if I'm gonna come. Um, Kind of like what I. No, well, no, that I just upgraded my seats, but no. Later on, I started to advocate, hey, I'm coming out there. I want to make sure that I have seats. There was a few shows that I couldn't get to though, like there was the one with Matt Cardona, and there was a few other ones. It is what it is. I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk. I mean, you can investigate and dig if you can find information. I mean, that's all I know. That's everything that's happened to me. There's nothing else to it. I mean, there's no secrets. There's nobody screwing anybody. Again, I chalk it up to the disrespect. I believe with the other promoters that told me that they just don't respect you as whatever, and they don't see you on the same level, so they're not going to treat you the same, and that's it.
I think this is the last time I will be talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Randy Carver needs an episode because he backs Alex up. I don't think Alex needs an episode because he wants to celebrate people's deaths. These are just people that we just don't need to deal with or talk with.
Because it's like, why are we going to go to uh, these are the people that will be walking down Congress Street and they'll be asking for change. And we'll be saying, here you go. In the end, they need something to survive. We do not. We can fucking fight our
Hey,
way through
listen, all I can say is this. I've been married, you've been married. Wait till Alex gets his first. Wait till his wife beats the piss out of him for the first time. We'll see what happens.
that. Don't hit me. Don't hit me.
Well, no, I just want to see if it will go to like a limitless group or will go or will it
Probably
be
fucking,
different?
probably
Or
man
will
it up.
I mean, everybody wants to air laundry out. It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't know. I can't even get on to that because I'll go for another route, and I really want to watch these new movies I bought. But like I said, that's my thing with Limitless. I mean, will I do business with them? No, because I don't go out there. Would I ever do business with them? It would have to be under a real strict contract or something that would be written proof to say, hey, I'm getting what I paid for, and this is what has to happen. If it does not, then I want some kind of reimbursement or something, and that would just be more business savvy or smarter. Um, you know, you live, you learn. I can't, like I said, take any of it back, but at one point, it also benefited me. Working with, next to Limitless helped me. It got me a foot into pro wrestling. It got me a foot into, high end pro wrestling at that, on the indie scene. And it got me into, meeting a lot of great people. There's a lot of friends out in Maine that I've met from going to just shows. People that I traveled to Jersey with, to GCW, people that I've smoked with, people that I've hung out with, girls, boys, doesn't matter. There's a woman out there, Colleen. I became good friends with her. She's super nice. We're wrestling fans, so we talk wrestling. There's artists, there's chefs, people in freaking dispensaries, families, photographers. There's a guy that runs a kill your local pedophile freaking t-shirt company. I mean, there's so many people that I've met out there. Even some that have passed away, unfortunately, and some too soon. There's a girl that was sick, and I met so many out there that I can't say that it wasn't worth it. I would never say that I wasted time or money with Limitless. I've learned a lot, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. I've learned a lot, and I'll thank Randy, because at some point Randy did show me respect. He did shake my hand. He did put me on a pedestal. He did treat me and wanted to see me succeed. I don't know where it went wrong. I don't know what I did, if I did anything, or just people grew. But at one point it was there, so I can't take that away either. Um,
You think the WWE ID in New England area got to his head?
no, I think just maybe becoming a bigger company and me being a smaller sponsor. 500 is a big number, but it's not big enough if people are putting down 5 grand.
Yeah, but everyone doesn't fucking respect his fucking.
But you know how it is.
Yeah, but it's just fucking.
Okay, well, I'm about to watch Strange Harvest, my friend. I'm on to be thrust into a chilling hunt for a sadistic serial killer. That's what I'm going to do tonight. We will be back Monday night. We got a whole lineup this week. I didn't even get that far because we talked Limitless. But Wednesday, we are talking with Pretty Poppy. Thursday, I am talking and interviewing a presidential candidate. And I mean, we're going to be talking everything from furries and freaking transgender to freaking gun laws, school shootings, police brutality. I mean, racial profiling, systematic racism, homeless people, drug addicts, drug addiction, abortion, rape, fucking age of consent. There is going to be nothing that I am not going to ask this fucking presidential candidate and probe him with. He's going to feel violated by the end of it, like I fucking fingered his ass looking for something.
Sounds kinky.
It will be. It'll be a kinky episode. I'll dress up like Marilyn Monroe and sing Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
We need to change this country.
Well, this candidate is the man to do it, so I can't wait to bring him on and fucking see what he has in store when we get rid of Trump. Because I think the change is coming. At the end of the day, let's face it, this is a country of sinners. We might as well have a real king. With that, everybody, I am going to say goodnight. You can check everything out. This week is going to be great. We'll be back Monday. Have a good night. We're done.